Okay, cool. Welcome back to another episode of Crypto is Depressing. Today we are interviewing our host, Charles. So
Heyo.
I think everybody kind of knows who you are,
They
especially
better.
most of our audience for sure. So instead of kind of like asking the normal, like tell us about yourself, I was going to just ask if you had three things that people probably don't know about you.
Mm, fuck. That's already a good question. All right. So I mean, I know at least a few people. My old audience knows this. I used to work in banking. Went to school for finance. And I quit to start a podcast and sell junk on Amazon. So that's one thing about me. I'm sure most people know that, but that's for everybody out there. I still can't believe I went to school, paid money for a degree, and now I'm hosting this show, to be honest with you. Wild turn of events.
Yeah.
Let's see. Two other things. Oh, fuck. I don't know. I'm a pretty open book on Twitter. Talk about my drug use a lot. Some of it's a bit of a joke. Like, I kind of push it a little bit farther than I think I actually do in real life. So maybe that's something that people don't know. But it's more of just like a bit on Twitter.
I guess I could have sent these to you before.
Yeah, no, I'm really stumped here. I got nothing, honestly. I feel like I'm a pretty open book. I'm a young dude, 26. Let's see. I most of my net worth was in Bitcoin at one point. Not so much anymore. I know I'm a big advocate for Bitcoin online. But I've kind of diversified a bit. Let's see. I honestly, this is tough. This is tough. Maybe you could narrow it down a little bit more. Maybe
No,
that's
I
more.
was just saying, like, in general, like, I don't know if there's, I think you kind of hit 3 points, so we can move on.
Yeah, we can pretend like I hit 3 points.
Yeah, kind of. Okay, so I guess first of all, what made you decide to quit your job and start a podcast? Because you have the Crypto Entrepreneurs podcast, which is doing really well, I think. So I don't know, why did you do that?
Yeah. I mean, so I've always, been an entrepreneur, quote unquote, from a young age, flipping shit in school, stuff like that. And it's always just been like a thing that I've done. And so when I started my job, I was like, the plan is to build up some capital, maybe get some work experience, kind of experience that whole normal real life thing. Sorry. And I had some student loans that I needed to pay off. So I was like, I'm not going to just like jump into a business straight out of college and kind of go for it. So I was trying to be a little bit more responsible. But while I was working, because it was at a bank, and when you think of the average analyst at a bank, it's some middle-aged white dude who's just like boring as hell. And that was like all of my coworkers pretty much. And so, I didn't really get along with any of them. We'd have conversations about like, oh, how was your weekend? I was like, oh, I stayed up all night partying. And they're like, cool, I took my kids to the water park. And I was like, this is not for me. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I felt like I was kind of wasting potential as well.
Right.
And so I kind of transitioned into it pretty smoothly. I started the podcast while I was still working, started the Amazon business while I was still working, and like slowly started to scale it up. And then at the point where I was pretty sure I could pick up some sponsors, I decided I'm going to quit, put like 8 hours a day into the podcast, and, see if I can make something of it.
Yeah. Okay. So what gave you the idea for this podcast? Because I know it was kind of like a joke at first, but
yeah,
randomly came up with it.
I don't know. Like, if you guys know me on Twitter, it's like a very different person than I am on my very serious podcast. But both of those like personalities, I say, are both me. Like, I'm very into business. I'm very into helping people kind of secure themselves financially. I want people to break away from the 9 to 5. But then I also like to joke around, have a lot of fun. And, I feel like there is a podcast out there, the Wrecked podcast. And I don't know if maybe subconsciously I was like, that's a brilliant idea. I kind of want to do the same. But I started it. I think the first episode was with Nate Bagg. I was like, I want to co-host. And that's when I reached out to you. But it was more just like everyone's going through shit. Like the bear market was very long. All of 2018, people were capitulating. And the people that stuck around really, like, I didn't see a lot of them having any hope. And so I wanted to just, like, have some fun, but also show people that, we're all kind of in this together. We've all experienced some depressing thing in the crypto industry at some point.
Yeah.
And I wanted people to be able to talk about it openly.
Totally. Okay, so on your other podcast, I'm kind of going to put you on the spot here. Who do you think is your favorite guest that you've had on?
That's tough. So there's like different phases of it. When I was first starting out, I reached out to a lot of people. I didn't have a huge Twitter presence. And there were a couple people that were like bigger in the industry, in my opinion, who really helped me out. So like Yuki and Oaks were super cool. They came on, They kind of showed me the ropes. They had their own podcast. They taught me a lot. And then Nye also had a super big audience, and he was like, I would love to come on, love the idea. I'll like get this out to my audience, and that kind of helped kick things off. So those were two early ones that I really liked. And then recently, 2 episodes, there were 2 on like starting side hustles, starting businesses, growing businesses. One was the last one, which was Decentraman, which is I think probably the most viewed video so far. And then Kobe, those 2 guys, they're both, just straight hustlers. Their mentality is kind of how I see myself, or we have very similar mindsets. Yeah. So I enjoyed those. And then a lot of people really enjoyed the trading episodes. So of the trading episodes, I'd probably say some of the PDF guys like Quant Fiction, Bit Dealer, those guys are killing at trading. All the PDF guys kill at trading. So it was nice for them to come on and kind of share their trading expertise.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so pivoting back to your Twitter account. So I know we already talked about it a little bit, but you tweet about drug use a lot, and also having or finding a girlfriend or having a wife.
Oh, constantly.
So I'm just wondering how that's working out for you. Like, is there a bunch of people in your DMs offering?
No, I'm gonna say that now. I'm gonna say no, but there should be, because I think I'm a catch. But
yeah, totally.
No, yeah. I want to set the record straight here. Don't have a wife. Don't have a girlfriend. I just think it makes for excellent content on Twitter. I hope you guys enjoy it.
It's definitely entertaining, to say the least. So I guess kind of how did you even get to the point with your Twitter that you are now? Like, did you always start off shit posting, or were you more serious?
So if I look back at, it's kind of been a fluid thing. It's kind of just been me kind of finding my voice on the internet, as lame as that sounds. And again, I struggle with this. Like, I was a very professional person. I had a desk job in the finance industry. Love business, love talking about it. So that was like the serious stuff that I would post about. But as I started to be more of myself, a lot of people, when I brought them on, I was like, how'd you see success? They said, I was really just honest with myself. I started posting about stuff that I enjoyed, kind of was being myself online. I was like, I'll do the same. And I really started to see an uptick in, the following, the engagement, how much fun I was having, which eventually, drove people to the podcast with just like the shit posting, making memes, having fun.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do you feel any pressure though? Like, as far as now that you do like have this more serious podcast with like actual sponsors and you're actually getting paid for it, do you feel the pressure of having to like be more professional, or?
Sorry, you cut out there, but I think that I got most of the question. No, you're good. It's my internet. I think, with everyone being at home online, it's kind of fucking with my internet. But no, I mean, a little bit, but you've seen my Twitter. Everyone still sees my Twitter. It's still a lot of jokes, still a lot of fun. But I do want to kind of cement myself as a professional in this industry. And so I do feel like I do need to clean up my act a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. I can still have fun. Like, I've never once had any pushback from my current sponsors. They're all wonderful. They've never been like, that was too much. We don't want you tweeting that kind of stuff. They kind of knew going into it that was like my Twitter shtick, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
It might be, causing me to not pick up new sponsors, or maybe a little bit more difficult to find new sponsors, but I'm okay with that. I don't want to turn into, I'm going to call some people out here like a Pomp or a Holdenot, who I feel like they're only allowed to tweet certain things, and they've kind of pigeonholed themselves in a sense.
Right.
And I don't really want to get to that point.
You mean you don't want to tweet like the virus is spreading 17 times a day?
No, I mean, I will just for fun, and I'll add like 15 rocket emojis, and I think that's just more to poke fun at the whole thing, and stacking sats with little sirens and stuff. But no, I mean, I don't want my sponsors to kind of dictate what I put out to my audience, because I wouldn't be here without my audience, and I think that they deserve, me, a real me, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. Speaking of the real you, I noticed earlier today on Twitter, or maybe it was last night, and I just caught it this morning, that you were talking about possibly doxing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
I do, yeah. So I this is something I've been thinking about doing for a while now. I've talked to people, even I had Michael on almost a year ago, or over a year ago, and we talked about it early then. I've talked with some other people that are docs in the industry, like Wendy. I've been to a couple of her meetups, love her, and we kind of talked about, the pros and cons of it. And then just last night, I recorded an episode with CBS. His Twitter, I think, is Cold Blooded Schiller, and he's actually thinking about doing the same thing. And so we talked about it for a while. So I think I might potentially do it. That would kind of cement the fact that I'm cleaning up my act. I'm putting my face out there, just to kind of be a little bit more professional.
Yeah. So does that mean the cocaine tweets and stuff will stop?
See, that's like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I have a lot of tweets about illegal stuff, and so like, do I need to go back and delete that stuff? Can I continue to post it? Like, is that okay? I think it'll continue. Like, I don't think it's a huge issue. I'm not like blatantly doing illegal things. I'm not like posting pictures of anything. Like, I think it would be fine technically. I've also tweeted a lot about not paying taxes recently, so that's more of my concern right there. I'm worried I'm gonna get like an audit from the IRS saying, hey, you need to provide all your information for us.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you just kept your name the same, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. I don't know. Government probably knows who you are based off your picture anyway. So.
Oh, for sure. They've got face tracking software, and I mean, they know who I am. Like, even if I stayed like this, I'm sure they could, find me if they really wanted to.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I was fucking around with one of those, like, make yourself into a cartoon. So it's not like an actual picture of me. It's still like a cartoon picture of me, but I think that would at least, there'd be some connection. I wouldn't be this bleeding eyes statue guy that everyone knows me as. Yeah,
maybe that would help you get some more chicks in your...
Oh God, no, that would destroy all chances. Right now there's a little bit of mystery, and I hear girls like mystery. But if I post pictures of me and myself, my face, I'm doomed. But we will be able to hop on interviews and interview people, and I'll get to show my face on here now. So I think that'll be fun for people.
Yeah, for sure. I do think it helps, like, actually having like attaching a person to who you're talking to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm going to have to text you like you text me, like, fuck, I got to get ready for this interview, and I got to do my hair and take a shower and That's the one thing I don't want to have to do is like half the time I'm like cruising out of bed. My desk is in my room right next to my bed. I just like cruise out of bed and sit down at the computer looking like absolute garbage. So now I gotta like take a shower, be clean shaved. Like I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for that commitment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes me probably a little longer than it takes you, so I think you can do it.
That's fair. Okay, if you're putting in the effort, I think I owe it to you to be able to get ready for these interviews.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay, so I know we've talked about it before that you're not really a depressed type of person, which is kind of weird that you have this show, but
It is.
I guess so. Have you actually had anything kind of depressing happen to you since you've been in crypto, or do you just like hearing about other people that have had depressing things happen?
I mean, like, I think just being in crypto, like, since I got in, I think, 2016, experiencing the 2017 run, and then watching it all fall to shit, I think that was, like, everybody experienced something that was, quote-unquote, depressing.
Right.
I went pretty heavy into alts at one point and just, like, watched those completely die, and that was, like, oh wow, like I lost a year's salary on this alt. Like this is kind of mind-blowing. Like I could have, like if I quit my job and just sold my alt, that's another year of me living and getting that salary. So that was kind of tough to watch. I think I think I quit my job right at the top. It was in like June of 2019 and we hit the top of 14K.
Right.
I think either in June or July. So like the timing was perfect on that one. So as soon as I quit my job, no sponsors lined up. I just had to watch Bitcoin decline from, 14K down to like 6K or something like that before it bounced. Yeah. So that was a little tough to watch, but I mean like I originally like had the idea to quit in I would say January. And then for like 6 months I was saving as much as I could, not going out, buying as much Bitcoin as I could, kind of just prepping for it. But that was still, a blow to morale, I would say.
Right.
And then I think I would say like the biggest depressing thing was that through the 2017 run, I was actually dating somebody. And it was just nice to be like, yo, I have, a decent amount of money invested. Like, you should invest some. She had invested some, made some money. But, like, I would say, obsession with crypto was kind of, like, affecting the relationship a little bit. And it definitely put some extra strain on the relationship that wasn't needed. So I can go ahead and attribute that breakup to cryptocurrencies and not my terrible self and me being a bad boyfriend.
That's your scapegoat.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, but at the same time when I like sit down and reflect on it, it's like, damn, it's a pretty shitty situation. I was kind of blowing it there. That's like, again, I say quote unquote depressing because we've talked about it before. I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. I'm pretty happy with next to nothing, have never really experienced any bouts of serious depression. So it's kind of weird to have this show, and it's hard for me to kind of relate to some of the stories on here. But at the same time, like I'm kind of the flip side of it. Like, hey, you can get through all this stuff. You can like continue to smile through it. That kind of bullshit.
But do you think you're really the person to be doing that since you haven't been through anything?
So, I mean, like, I don't know. When we have people on here to talk about their depressing stories, like there are some people who have like legitimately been depressed, like, have considered taking their own life, that kind of stuff. And that's tough for me to talk about. So that's kind of why I wanted a co-host who maybe could kind of talk about it a little bit more. And just like share experiences that I maybe haven't been through, which is, we hadn't talked about that kind of stuff at the beginning of you coming on, but we had a conversation about some of the stuff that you've been through on the last episode, and it's really cemented the idea that you can kind of relate to some of these people and help them through it more than I can. So you're right, I'm definitely not like the best person to be talking about it. But then again, there are those people who are just like, I lost a shit ton of money. And I'm like, well, fam, like you put your money into it, and like I'm in the same boat, and I'm over here laughing. Like there's no real reason to be upset or sad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that having two types of perspectives is probably really good for all of it because I'm not a trader. I never have been. So I can't really relate to that side of things. You know what I mean? And I don't know, like, if you did a lot of trading, I think maybe you've mentioned it before. But I think, did you try to trade for a little bit and decide you weren't?
I mean, it's like I've seen varying degrees of success. I would definitely consider myself more of an investor, but like I have spent plenty of time talking with traders, researching trading. I just never, could commit full time to it. I'm not that kind of person. I had a job. Now I'm more focused on the podcast. But also like it was just too stressful for me when I was trading. In
Right.
that like little in between time before I decided no, like I need to focus more on the podcasts
Right.
than trading. But
Yeah,
it's always been like
definitely.
a side thing that's more of like if I'm going to be trading, it'll be swing trades, low leverage, like not that big of a deal. I'm not the kind of guy who's like sitting at my computer all day, like, Gainsey or Romano, just trading, 15 hours a day.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so back to your Twitter. How many drafts do you have? Like, okay, so with your tweets, do you keep a list of drafts or do you just like pop things up off the top of your head?
So I used to keep a lot of drafts. I would like something would pop into my head and I'd be like, all right, I've tweeted like, 3 times today. I'm like not counting, just like, oh, I've tweeted a couple times today. Maybe I'll save this for a little bit later. And it would just like be in the drafts ready to go. Just like click on it, hit tweet. Now it's like, you've seen my Twitter. It's a fucking mess. Like I will tweet 10 times in 10 minutes and then like not look at my phone for 3 hours and like go do something else. So I don't really have too many drafts right now. Like if I pulled up my Twitter really quick, I'd say I've probably got like 10 tweets in the drafts and they're like the start of a tweet where I'm like, I've got something here. And then like midway through the tweet, I'm like, I don't got anything. Like, let's see what I got here. Hold on. Let's see. Like, wonder how many marriages. That's it. That's all I got. Like, it was something good, and I like know it was, but like as I typed it out, I was like, I got nothing here. Right underneath that, like, smug asshole doesn't have coronavirus. Don't know where I was going with that, but like at the time, it was gonna be what I think is a good tweet. Let's see. I got sent a picture of a gin and tonic and a cigarette to my dad. I'm like, where was I going with that? I really don't know. So like there's drafts in there, but it's like mostly like I'll start a tweet, I'll like not know where it's landing and then I'll just like give up on it.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have any like reserved tweets where I'm like, all right, I'm waiting to tweet this one out,
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like I'm circling back a lot, but I usually like depend on you to carry the conversation.
Yeah, see, now I'm just answering. I don't have to carry the conversation at all.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as like you looking for an e-girl girlfriend,
Oh,
I know you
yeah, let's get into this one.
but okay, so what are you looking for? Just for any ladies, if there's any ladies out there that are listening.
I'm looking for a wife. Like that, bare bones, I'm looking for a wife. My plan, I've like talked about it on Twitter multiple times, is find a girlfriend, get married, have a child, move to the forest, and live in a little cabin in the forest and fuck off from everybody else and do my podcast from there. But I know that's super unrealistic. Like that's the dream right there. That's never gonna happen. Realistically, literally nothing. Like I think the online dating scene is like weird as hell and it's like not for me. Like I know a lot of people are like in each other's DMs, like forming these like weird online relationships and I'm not here for it. Like I don't understand it. Like friendships cool, but like I don't know. I think people try to make it more than that. And I think we talked about this on the episode with Britt, where people like reach out and like try to form these weird online relationships, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
mean, I tweeted about that the other day too. Like, it's weird to me to know that there's like actual people in actual relationships from crypto Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, here, I'm not going to rule it out. If, like, one of my mutuals is in Southern California, I'm all for it, but, like, I'm not, like, you know, seeking out this, like, weird online relationship that I think a lot of people are looking for. I'm not that lonely yet.
You're not sliding into random DMs.
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever, like, there are, like, a couple girls that I DM on, like, a semi-regular basis, like, they'll just send me something, I'll send them back. But I'm never like, I'm going to DM this random girl. Like, I think I DM with you pretty often. Every once in a while, I'll DM Brit, like some bullshit, you know, nothing like serious or anything like that. There's this other chick, Wrecked, like one conversation because we were in Arizona. We were trying to meet up.
Right.
Other than that, no, I don't think... And then trying to get people to come on the podcast is usually like start of conversation. But I've never been like, "Hey girl, what's up? How you doing?" Like that is not my vibe right there.
Yeah. Well, and from what I've seen too, like some of the people that were in a relationship, like it just doesn't end up well. And like I've seen some people like airing their stuff out on Twitter, and I'm just like,
do you want to get into it? Because I'd love to hear the gossip. I'm bored. No, I'm bored at home. Like, let's talk some shit.
I feel like I always know the gossip. Like,
yeah, you do. You spend too much time on Twitter doing the wrong stuff. Like, I'm on Twitter 95% of the day, but I'm just like tweeting bullshit and pushing like on my friends' posts so they get a little bit of dopamine.
Yeah.
You got all the hot gossip.
Yeah, I get. Well, I'm also in, like I've said before, I'm in like a million group DMs where there's 50 people in there, and then from there it like breaks down into like a smaller group DM where it's just like people that you actually like to talk to, and then it's like then you have one or two friends that like or you get really close to, and then so I kind of get like all these snippets from like everybody. But yeah, no, recently somebody that I am friends with was in a relationship, and it just like went super south. And
are we naming names, or is it just like a friend?
Yeah, I don't want to name names just because I think it's kind of a touchy subject right now, like with them. And I don't want to like call anybody out just because I do like respect this person and I would never want to like betray their trust or anything. But then it just like it filtered out onto Twitter. And I think that like it was just like weird, you know, like I feel like a relationship is something that you kind of keep to yourself, especially if it's like a breakup. I don't know.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Like you're going through it or it's fresh or whatever. Like, so to see it like play out like that, I'm just kind of like, ooh, like, yikes.
Yeah. The couples that air all their dirty laundry on Twitter or on social media and who are constantly posting about each other on social media, it's just like, I think you're terrible people. So whoever you're talking about, if they're listening to this, like get your shit off Twitter. Like figure your shit out in real life. People overshare, I think, a lot on Twitter. And because I think we're such a close-knit community, people feel comfortable with it. But those people got to take a step back for a second and realize that like it's social media, you shouldn't be airing this kind of shit.
Yeah. Definitely.
My personal opinion. I don't know.
Well, I think just in general, I mean, it's like, I always see like memes that are like about girls that like are, oh, I love you so much. And then like a week later, like that completely disappear, like all the pictures. And then like a week later, it's like back together, you know, like I just think that it's like, it's like really dumb.
Yeah. I've never got that whole delete all the pictures, block them on everything. Like it just seems like a cry for help, in my opinion.
Yeah, or attention seeking, I guess.
Yeah, definitely attention seeking. Like,
so you said that you were in Arizona.
I was.
So you were on a road trip.
Yeah, this is the most depressing thing for my crypto journey, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot to mention that.
So what prompted this road trip? And if you want to tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
Okay, so existential crisis prompted this road trip. I'm in Southern Orange County, like, you know, very, very bubbly area. It's like this little bubble, right? and I just needed to get out of here. It was too much for me to handle. You know, I needed to be away from everything is probably.
Have you been there your whole life?
Yeah, so whole life other than going to school, went to school, came back. I lived in the area I went to school in for a while and then came back because the people I was living with up in after college, they just continued that kind of college lifestyle of going out Thursday through Sunday, drinking super heavily. And I was like, this isn't really my kind of lifestyle. I tried to like push it to be more of a like, let's go on a hike this weekend, or let's go to like, I don't know, the botanical gardens or the zoo or some bullshit. And it was always just like, nah, let's just drink, like let's go out to the bars. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna come home. My friends here kind of, they align with my lifestyle a little bit more. We're more active, we're going to the beach constantly, we're hiking, that kind of stuff. And so I was like, I'll go back there, you know, be around those kind of people. It's more my lifestyle. But things kind of just like got back into the same routine. People kind of were putting those kind of activities off more and more. And I've always been a big person, you know, big into nature, big into camping, big into road trips, like spending a lot of time by myself. And so I was like, I'll just go on this road trip. Like I've gone on one other road trip before that was a little bit longer. I'd say it was like 2-3 months long, and really enjoyed it. Really learned a lot about like what makes me happy. And so I was like, I'll do the same thing, but I want to see like the whole US because, you know, I've kind of stayed on the West Coast my entire life and like traveled that area. And I think that there's a lot of this country that I haven't seen and that I want to see. And then on top of that, it was, you know, I've made all of these connections online and all these quote unquote friendships. I kind of want to make those real connections. And so I like put a post out. I was like, hey, I'm traveling around. Like, would be great to meet some of you guys. Like, would love to. We've, you know, built these relationships online for 2+ years or so. And like, I think some of you guys would be considered friends in real life. So like, I would love to meet you. And so it was like, let's hit as many national parks, let's meet as many people, make some connections in the industry. And so that's kind of what prompted it. I know that was long-winded. I'm sorry. I just like, I'm passionate about this because I want to get back out on the road and like just being pent up is killing me. And so I made it out to Scottsdale. I was staying in Scottsdale with a buddy who moved out there, and he has been living there for like 2 years now. And like not many of our friends go and visit him. Like I said, they've kind of got real life going on now. I was like, hey, I'll come visit you. I'll come stay with you. Can I stay for like 2 weeks? And he's like, yeah, sure. Like I would love that. You know, I'm kind of lonely out here. Stayed there. We're doing a lot of like art, photography, just like seeing Arizona, or at least seeing like the Scottsdale area, Phoenix area. And then there were 2 people that I met up with, which was Rect and King. I'm sure most of the people on Twitter know who these people are, or at least most of my following knows who they are, I would say. Yeah. So I hung out with them for a little bit, but that was towards the end when shit was like starting to get locked down. Like, you know, grocery stores were selling out of food. And I was like, I can't continue a road trip if I can't get groceries.
Right.
And like my plan was to hit smaller towns. Like, I wanted to go see Rick in Colorado. He lives in like a smaller town, and he said like, no, this is like, don't come. Like the whole town is shut down. I know we talked, your whole town is very tiny, pretty much on lockdown as well.
Yep.
And so that was like, it was tough because I was like, I could probably make it work. It just like won't be as comfortable, and I don't think I would enjoy it as much as I could. So I was like, I'll go home. I'll get back to work. I'll figure out all the stuff that I was kind of doing wrong, reflect on it a little bit. And then when this kind of all blows over, I can head back out on the road and kind of get back to it. But fuck the virus, man. Like it ruined my trip. This, like, the economy's crashing. There's a pandemic. And all I can think about, because I'm selfish, is that, you know, my goddamn trip got ruined.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little selfish, but it's okay.
I know. Oh, I completely agree, but gotta look out for number one.
Yeah.
One other thing, sorry to cut you off before we go into the next question, was this was also while I was on my road trip was when the price of Bitcoin got cut in half. So like that was also a huge blow. I was like, all right, Bitcoin's doing well. I can sell some crypto off if I need to pay for expenses, because I wasn't going to I wasn't going to be able to do the Amazon stuff as much. I could still get away with some of it, but it wouldn't be as beefed up as it was. So I was like, I'll sell some crypto off. I've got the sponsors. Everything should be fine. And then Bitcoin got cut in half. Every other cryptocurrency lost a ton of value. I'm worried about, how are my sponsors doing? Will they have enough to cover expenses, stay in business? Do they still want to do these marketing pushes if, funds are tight? So that like was another big worry, which was another reason that like it was kind of okay that I was going back, because I could kind of regroup, figure it out, and then get back to the road.
Right. So what, like, where was your end game at? Or did you not really have like a plan? Like, as far as your road trip goes, like, were you planning on getting to somewhere? Like, did you have a goal? Or
no.
were you just...
Yeah, there were no goals, honestly. My like big plan, honestly, was, hit as many national parks as possible, meet as many people as possible. And I think you, Rect, King, and Rick were like the first 4 people where I was like, I can go stay there and like, figure out the next leg of the trip. And then like there were obviously campsites and places I wanted to check out along the way. So that was like the initial leg of it. And then the plan was to hit, another friend up in Texas who moved out there. We went to school together, and she's like, you got to come visit. And then hit the East Coast, just kind of cruise up the East Coast, meeting people, staying wherever. And then to cut through the northern states once it got a little bit warmer, because it's still freezing up there.
Yeah.
Come back down the West Coast and then regroup and figure out, what place did I really enjoy the most? Where could I see myself setting up for a little bit? And like the end goal, I would say, is to find a place where I can kind of get away from everything, settle down for a little bit, find a cheaper place to live, because Jesus fucking Christ, Southern California is expensive.
Yeah.
And kind of just like live out my late 20s, I would say, kind of just figuring it out.
Yeah.
Which is maybe naive to say. I don't know. I'm young and dumb, and
yeah. I mean, I did. The 20s are something else. So.
Yeah, give me some weight. I was gonna say, give me some sage advice. I need some help here. I'm going through it right now, as you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would just be not to worry about it so much, because you have like, I mean, you're still so young, so it's like I don't think you should be so worried and focused on like, how do I say this? Let's see. Like having a plan, like a set plan, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think that what you're doing is pretty cool. And I think that a lot of younger people should do like more of that. You know what I mean? Because I think people take it so seriously in your 20s, and it's like, this is your time to like live it up. You know what I mean? And you're still figuring things out. And I think people get wrapped up sometimes in like, oh, well, I have to have my career figured out. Like, I have to get married. I want to have kids. And it's kind of just like, like it's not as, I don't think that those things should be as much of a priority as like actually figuring yourself out. Right. So I think that, more people could listen to what you're saying because I think we all do get kind of wrapped up in that when we're young, Yeah,
I was definitely headed down that path. It was, get good grades in school, go to college, get a finance job out of college, wear a suit and tie to work every day, and, hate myself when I turned 50. So I was trying to break away from all of that. And then, working for myself, I realized I can go and kind of explore myself, which is, lame to say, but, find what makes me happy. And I don't know if I would find that out on the road, just like going on this road trip. But I think the last time I went on a road trip, the mental space I was in at the time was, I'm ready to get a finance job. I'm out of college. Like, this is what I want to do coming back from that trip. And then a few years later, I was like, I got to reassess. So hopefully I can come out of this one with some newfound wisdom and newfound, I guess, purpose in life.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so I have one more question for you. Hold on just a second. My phone is locked. Okay, so I guess this is kind of a weird question, I guess, but I guess what would you consider to be your biggest win in life so far?
I this is gonna sound cliche, but like what I have going right now, honestly, like
Yeah.
quitting my job, like deciding to pull the trigger on that, like it's so I think so fucking lame to say, oh, like crypto is the biggest win in my life, but like I think it really did help facilitate the idea that I'm not gonna work a desk job anymore. Like I need to focus on what makes me happy more than securing maybe like a solid financial future.
Hmm.
Whereas before, it was always just like, I got to get a job. I got to think about the future. I got to, go through these motions of life. Um, and I don't know, you know, that I can't say that I wouldn't have found this if like I didn't find crypto. It probably would have been something else that kind of sparked it.
Hmm.
But just, the ability to pick up, pack up, start a road trip, I don't think a lot of people have that opportunity, or they'll let that opportunity kind of pass them by. And so, I don't know, realizing that like it's all going to work itself out, and like I don't need to stress as much on having a job, having a 401k, which again, I know sounds naive because I'm super young. But my thoughts are like, I have time. I can settle down later. Like, people work their entire lives. Like, I'm going to take this time now and maybe work a little bit longer later on in life if it ever has to get to that.
Do you think that that mindset is possibly hindering your ability to get a girlfriend?
N- no, I'm gonna be honest. Like
I'm just joking with
no, 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 no. I think it's a good question. It's a fair question because, yeah, like I don't think a lot of people, women as well, men and women, are willing to just like pick up, pack up, bail on whatever. I may be seen as kind of an irrational person, and not someone who can be there as like a steady, reliable person. I'm struggling to find the words, but I don't know. Like I'm honestly not too focused on it as much as I joke about it, and I'll say it again. For any ladies out there, hit my DM. But I like it's just not my main focus at the moment. Like I've got two businesses to run. I've got this road trip to go on, myself to focus on. It's not my biggest concern at the moment.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, that was all of the questions I had for you. So if there's anything else you want to say for any of our people that actually watch this,
To the few people who listen to
yeah,
this.
the 100 people maybe.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We have 20,000 views, so like, sponsor us.
I haven't looked at the numbers lately, so I don't know if you're joking or not. I think we do decently well for like the 500 to 1,000 or whatever many number of people listen to
Yeah.
this. We'll probably say that like 0.1% of those people are women, and 0.1% of those, another 0.1% of those are businesses or crypto companies. So to you guys, the small minority, I'm here. My DMs are open. I'm looking for a girlfriend, and we are definitely looking for sponsors. Other
All
than
right.
that, no. Yeah, just I don't know. This episode wasn't super depressing. Like I have a couple of shitty things that have happened to me, but to anyone out there, like stay up. Crypto industry is kind of looking up. Maybe I don't know if the whole world collapses. Probably not, but I don't know. Try to keep a smile on your face. As
Yeah, and
lame as that sounds.
if there's anybody out there that actually has a story that they feel like would be relevant, just reach out to one of us and we'll get something set up.
Yes, that is something we don't push enough. Like I feel like we constantly have to reach out to people. I want people to be comfortable enough to reach out. I know I've blown off a lot of DMs, which is my bad, guys, but uh, reach out to us. Like we'd love to have you on. We're pretty much willing to have whoever on if they have a story to tell and an experience that other people can learn and share. So just reach out to one of us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for letting me grill you. I hope everybody that was wanting these episodes is happy now.
Probably not. They were both. I mean, this one was terrible. I can say that for sure. Last one, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Decent, you know. Did either of us watch it back? No. Will we? Probably not. So,
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in.